Has it ever occurred to you, Master Nine Fingers, that a sword is different from other weapons? Axes and maces and so forth are lethal enough, but they hang on the belt like dumb brutes. But a sword has a voice. Sheathed, it has little to say, to be sure, but you need only put your hand on the hilt and it begins to whisper in your enemy's ear. A gentle warning, a word of caution. Do you hear it? Now, compare it to the sword half drawn. It speaks louder, does it not? It hisses a dire threat, makes a deadly promise. Do you hear it? Now, compare it to the sword full drawn. It shouts now, does it not? Screams defiance, bellows a challenge. Do you hear it? Yes, a sword has a voice. Axes and maces and so forth are lethal enough, but a sword is a subtle weapon, and suited to a subtle man. You, I think, Master Nine Fingers, are subtler than you appear. Hello everybody, welcome back to Man Bun Books. Today, I want to start something that's going to carry on for probably 3 to 4 weeks on the channel. At least, we might be going further than that, but I would like to do a deep dive / why you should read on one of my favorite book series of all time, the First Law series by Joe Abercrombie. Starting today with The Blade itself. This is the first book in the series. What I think I'm going to do with these is this is going to kind of be a why you should read pitch video for the series. I would like to do deep dives on the next 2 books or the next couple of weeks before they are hanged in Last Argument of Kings. That's all I have planned for now. There's potential that we might go right into the standalones and do the 3 standalones as well. I haven't decided yet, but we'll see how these do. We'll see if you guys like them. We'll see what happens. But first of all, The Blade itself by Joe Abercrombie. This starts a world that's kind of a stereotypical fantasy world. You've got your barbarians in the north. You've got the Union, which is, you know, your regular medieval world kind of in the middle, like in the central. You have the Gurkish to the south in the desert. There's this circle of the world. It's this giant area. You have the far country that's kind of like the Old West. That doesn't get explored till later in the series. The main thrust of this series is the characters. So we're going to go into the characters of this story. Joe Abercrombie's writing style is very, very witty. His dialogue is incredible. It's very character focused and very zoomed in on one POV at a time. It's not first person, it's third person, but it's very tight to whoever's POV you're in. Joe Abercrombie, it's a very dark world. There's a lot of violence and swearing and all kinds of stuff like that. But it's intertwined with this humor and all of these themes on the human condition. He really, really goes into the psychology of these people and you get to know them very well. So let's talk about some of these main characters that are the driving force of this series and why I love this series so much. So we're going to start off with Logan Nine Fingers. Logan is a barbarian from the north. He is a Northman. His nickname is the Bloody Nine. The North, they have all these named men, so if you're really good in battle, you have all these accolades and in fighting and all this stuff. You're a named man. Logan's name is the Bloody Nine. He has 9 fingers, and he is one of the most feared fighters of his generation. When you meet him, he's the first POV we see in the book. He's a little bit older now. He's a little past his prime. He's still really deadly, but he kind of feels, you kind of get this sense from Logan that he's sick and tired of his past, and he kind of wants to leave his past behind him, and he's trying to be a little bit of a better man. At least that's the story he tells himself in his head. Logan's just, he's a great character. He has to go on this quest in the first book to go find the first of the Magi, Baaz, and through all the stuff he gets there, he always has these little isms that he says to himself, like, say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers, say blah, 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 you know. he's he'll smile at women all the time, and he's so ugly and scarred and everything from all his fights. They just like, oh, and run away, and he's like, say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers, say he's a charmer, you know, like that kind of thing. He's really funny. He's got all these little sayings and stuff that really make the character pop off the page. So Logan's, used up man of violence, trying to leave his past behind him, and he does that for most of the book. It is interesting with Logan when the Bloody Nine comes out to play. It's wild, man. There's a complete tonal shift in the writing and everything. It's something you have to experience it for yourself. But Logan's story is just, he goes to find the first of the Magi, Baez, and continues on with him to the Union. He sees the city for the first time, civilization for the first time, and you kind of get to see the Union and the inner workings of everything through his eyes, or how it's perceived for the rest of the world through his eyes. Logan's fantastic. One of my favorite characters. Next up, we've got Inquisitor Sglokta. Sandan Glokta is his full name. In this world, in the Union, if you're nobility, you have a Dan in the middle of your name. So Sandan Glokta. He is a former playboy, party boy, soldier, the dashing young cavalry commander. Yeah, haha. He was with all the ladies. He won the fencing contest. He's, the star of the Union. And then he gets captured in battle and tortured horribly by the Gurkish. And he's now this twisted, deformed man. He walks with a limp and a cane. They describe his walking as kind of click-tap grunt. His face is messed up. All of his teeth are all jagged and weird. His eyes water. He can't get in and out of bed himself. He's just this broken wretch of a man. And he's now a torturer for the Inquisition in the Union. And you're just kind of like... Joe has this way of taking the most despicable people and somehow getting you to root for them. I don't understand it. But with Glokta, he's torturing people. He's this terrible person. He does horrible things. And it goes into detail sometimes about the torture he's doing when he's trying to get information out of people for the Union. And yet you're still kind of on his side. And he constantly asks himself the question, why do I do this? Why? Why do I do this? I was tortured. Why am I torturing people? And for him, it's kind of just like, I don't know. I know it really well. I mean, it was done to me. What else would I do? Like, what else am I good for, kind of thing. Glokta's just full of self-pity and self-loathing all the time. He hates himself. He hates the world around him. Like, his greatest nemesis is stairs. And he always says if he could torture one man, it would be the inventor of stairs, because they're so hard for him to go up and down. Glokta has this scathing, self-deprecating humor, though, as well, that's really funny. And just like, there's italics, Joe puts italics in there when it's like his inner thoughts in his head, and then he'll say something completely different. He'll have a superior of his asking him a question, and in his mind, he's like, of course it is, you dolt. And he's like, I live to serve and obey, your eminence. Like, in his actual words. There's this interesting juxtaposition between what he's thinking and what he's saying. Glokta's always the smartest person in the room. Always seems to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody else. He's kind of like this genius mastermind guy who does really messed up things. But I love him. He's my favorite character in this series, is Glokta. Next up for POVs, we've got Jazal Dan Luther, another noble kid. Jazal is young, arrogant. He's basically what Glokta used to be. Young, arrogant. Like, the first scene we see him, he's playing cards with his friends, and he's just cheating his friends out of all their money. Just because he can. Even the ones who can't afford it. He actually takes more pleasure in that. He's constantly looking in the mirror, like, admiring his chin and his face and everything. And Joe has this, like, scathing prose with Jazal, where it's like, the prose is like, has there ever been such a magnificent jawline? Like when he's looking at himself in the mirror, he's just this stuck-up little prick. And he has one of the coolest arcs. You're gonna hate Jazal in book 1. Your opinion might be a little different of him by Last Argument of Kings, which is book 3. his character arc is something. But he's such a little shit at the beginning. Gisele's fantastic. Fourth character that we spend some time with. These next three are kind of minor characters. The big three are the ones that I already talked about. These other three are kind of minor characters that are still major players, but they come in more in book 2 and 3. Some of them only have 1 or 2 chapters in the first book. But we have Pharaoh Maljin. She is an escaped slave from the south, and she gets found. You meet her when she's burying some of her friends in the desert, and she meets this wizard guy named Yulwei, who takes her somewhere. You're not going to know where until almost the end of this book. Pharaoh is full of anger and hate. All she wants is revenge for, her family being killed, her village being burned, and her being turned into a slave. So she's very singular-minded. Pharaoh can be a little grating at the beginning for new readers just because she is so angry all the time, and you understand why she's angry. But it's really grating to read at times. I do come to really appreciate Pharaoh, though, and the journey that she goes on. That's Pharaoh. Next up, you have Column West. West is a commoner in the Union who has pulled himself up by his bootstraps and hard work, and he's now a major in the army, commanding people that are sometimes of higher blood than him. Major West is our boots on the ground everyman who is a commoner and who just is sick and tired of Giselle and all his games, and he's sick and tired of, all the stuff. He just wants to do a good job. He wants to lead his men. He has a sister named Artie. Their interactions are some of the most powerful in the series, I would say, especially in book 1. It can get interesting. That's all I'm going to say. But West is kind of a friend of Giselle, but he doesn't really like him. West also used to be a friend of Glokta when Glokta was younger, before he was tortured and whatever. West and Glokta were friends. So West kind of, has pity on these more like rich asshole playboy kind of guys. He's kind of the guy in the circle who's the level-headed dude of them all. West is going to have more shine in book 2 and 3. So that's West. And then the last POV character up in the north, you have the Dogman. So this is Logan Ninefinger's old group. They had kind of a little band, and Logan was the chief. Not really a spoiler. It's in first chapter. They're fighting Shanka. There's like these weird gorilla creature kind of things in the north. And Logan falls off a cliff and they think he dies. So now his group is continuing on without him. You have the Dogman. You have Black Dow, who's just horrifying. You have Rud Three Trees. You have Tall Duru Thunderhead. You have Forley the Weakest. And you have Harding Grim. This little group of Northmen really give you a feel of what the Northern culture is like. Kind of how they talk, their sense of humor. It's a bleaker life up there, so they're a lot more practical and pragmatic about things. The Dogman is my guy, man. I love the Dogman, especially going forward. Before battles, he's always like, oh no, why do I have to pee right now? Like, he's always has to go to the washroom right before all the fighting goes down. He's going to have a lot more to do in Before They Are Hanged is when he really busts onto the scene, in my opinion. This book, Joe's kind of using him and that band of men to kind of get your view on Bethod, King of the Northmen, who is attacking the Union right now. So there's going to be a big war. They're fixing up for a big war. Baez, the first of the Magi, who Logan finds, kind of has his own machinations and things going on, which we'll talk about later. So that's the Blade itself. I hope you pick up this book and maybe do a little read-along. We'll see. I wanted to keep this one spoiler-free. The world in this one is really, really good. The characters are really, really good. The first book can be a little slow on the plot. I love the plot in this book, but it is a little more slow-paced because you're really settling into these characters' heads and getting to know them as people, getting to know the inner workings of the Union, of the North, all this stuff. It's very funny, and the books just keep getting funnier as they go. The next two reviews. So I'm planning for this one to come out, and then the following week have Before They Are Hanged with full spoilers, which is book 2. And then Last Argument of Kings, full spoilers. That's my plan for now. I might do a short little spoiler-free thing at the beginning, but it will be spoilers for the previous book. I can't really talk about Before They Are Hanged without mentioning some things about Blade itself. So that's what to expect for the next couple of weeks on the channel. If I do the standalones, it's going to be something a little more like this, where I kind of do a pitch video for the standalones. Maybe I'll go into some spoilers, I'm not too sure. But Blade itself, Joe Abercrombie. I hope you check it out. I hope this video convinced you to at least give it a try. Characters are fantastic. You're going to have a good time. You're not going to be disappointed. As always, be kind to each other.